Good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Be Healed Web Show. I am your host, Camille R. Perry, and I'm so excited that you joined us on tonight. Have an awesome guest that will be joining us momentarily. And I just want to again wish you all well. Happy Tuesday. This is June 14th. Um, we are just blowing through these weeks and months, I tell you, very mindful. So, just take a pause for a second and be grateful for this brand new day that we're almost at the close of, and then look forward to the days ahead. And so I'm excited to have you on tonight, and I'm getting ready to introduce my guest on tonight. Have the pleasure of meeting Dr. Alexander Sterling as we work together at Mount San Jacinto College. And when I first met him, I was just like, this light skinned brother, just, he all like blackity black this, and like he, ruffling feathers. Like, I'm so used to like, no, speak the King's English. Don't be giving all these isms and schisms, But those are things that I had to overcome, right? And so, but then he's brilliant. He opens his mouth and he drops all kind of knowledge. And so someone asked me about him, and I said, he's like, if Cornell West and Kendrick Lamar had a baby, that's Dr. A.K. Sterling. I'm proud to call him my big brother. In fact, I've been knowing him for, I know you're here, and I'm so excited to have you. He's in the chat, but he's in the green room. I'm gonna bring him in. But one of the things I can say about him, not only is he a son, he's a father. He's an awesome professor, counselor, activist, loves the Lord with all his heart, raising two phenomenal young children, a little boy and a little girl, just awesome people. And so you're in for a treat. You're in to not only hear who he is, more about him, but his story. And his title today is God Kept Me. And I am looking forward to hearing how he shares, because I love when men get on here and start sharing. It don't have to always be the Power of Vulnerability series for these men to share. And he's here. And so let's welcome him. If you're in the chat, go ahead and put some hearts up. If you're watching on Facebook, share this. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. And let's welcome my brother and friend, Dr. Alexander Sterling. Looking all
what up?
Looking all thugged out. Looking all thugged out. Well, we know that's not the case.
Listen, I thought it was over for me. I was bald and I ain't had braids in 20 years. But it's not over. God said it's not over until it's over.
Come on, Samson. You got your hair back. Come on. Let's get it. So welcome to Be Healed Web Show. Thank you for being a guest on tonight.
What is this? Like, what is this? This ain't Zoom. It's something different.
No, it's not. It's not Zoom, because if it was Zoom, you would be dialing in and echoes everywhere. So no, it's not Zoom.
This is fancy.
It's Restream, and I'm glad you're able to enjoy it. You'll be able to see the chats as people comment. You'll be able to see that come up and where they're coming from, and so it's going to be awesome. So I would love for you to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. I've already did my introduction of you, but how would you like them to know you?
Yeah, that's super kind. That's super kind of you, and wild for you to say. Cornell West and Kendrick Lamar. So shoot, let's see. The origin story for me has a bunch of different divergent points, but I figure, I don't know, you can steer me where you want, but I start with the school. What up, Benita? I start with my educational journey. It started in elementary school. I was in special ed. Now I think about it, it's probably like some systemic racism, but I also had some behavior problems. So I got held back in the second grade.
Okay.
For fighting. And then, check this out. In the fifth grade, they put me in fifth grade before lunch, and then sixth grade after lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And the next year I went to seventh grade, so I was caught back up.
Okay.
But anyways, I got expelled like 4 times from seventh grade to 11th grade for fighting and things. And then let's see, then I was on probation when I was like 16. So from like 16 to 18, I was on probation. So I chilled out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
chilled out. And I went to continuation school where my teachers really kind of poured into me.
Okay.
And it was crazy because a lot of all the students there were on probation. So they didn't, it was an adult education school, and they gave us packets and was like, go do this packet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Shout out to Pardeep, this little 15-year-old Indian boy. He used to do all my math packets. He probably working at Tesla right now. But shout out to Pardeep. Anyways, so I barely graduated right in the 90s from high school, from continuation school. And the crazy part was I was the valedictorian.
Oh,
Wow. Right? Yeah. I mean, it was a low bar, but you know what I'm
like
saying?
you had the best packets because Pardeep had helped you.
I mean, I don't even think there was anybody else that wanted to do it. So I was the valedictorian and I spoke, right? And what I
Mm-hmm.
said in 1999 when I graduated was that success wasn't a place or something that you could have, right? A possession. It was a series of goals that you set and accomplished that gave you momentum
Mm-hmm.
to accomplish greater goals. You
That's
know what I'm
good.
saying? So I
Mm-hmm.
said I was and I was deep back then. So what happened was I was like, bet I'm gonna go to community college now because that seemed like the right thing to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to get back on probation. So I started community college in 1999, and I still wasn't a good student, right? Because elementary school made me not want to do school,
Okay.
and then so middle school and high school, girls and nerds were doing my homework, and then bless their heart, and then I mean now we got Google, right? Like if I'd have had Google, I wouldn't even had to cheat. But
That's still
so
cheap,
so
just so we're clear.
is it okay? I've heard it both ways. So my relationship with education had always been either like, so we talk about deficit mindset now,
Okay.
and I still struggle with that with a whole PhD, you know, almost 10 years into teaching, right? So my relationship with education early on was kind of warped, and it wasn't like a comfortable feeling.
Right.
So by the time I got to college, I had an English teacher, the same class I teach.
Mm-hmm.
They they let me write about whatever. I think I
Okay.
wrote 4 papers about my girlfriend. It's ridiculous.
Oh.
I would never let my students do that. But it unlocked something, and it made me realize that if I liked what I was writing about, then I
Mm-hmm.
could write. And I didn't have like the anxiety of, oh, I can't write,
Right.
or I'm not smart, or grammar, or whatever. And so I was like, all right, bet this is fun, this is cool. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I was a business major. I mean, I was a business major, but I didn't like the math. I failed algebra 3 times. I tell my students all the time. It wasn't until I went to the math lab, not
Mm-hmm.
the math lab, but the math lab, and I got all the help I needed, like the legal help, right? That's called tutors. So then tutors helped me, and I passed algebra. Anyways, um, so now I found myself like interested in education, but I still didn't have the work ethic. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have the work ethic when it came to like all that I didn't pass algebra at that point. But early on, because I went to 4 community colleges. So
Okay.
the first one was like, oh, I could write. Still not work ethic. And then I went to another one doing prereqs. I was like, oh, this is whatever. Then I took a semester off and it turned into 6 years,
Wow.
right? Life, school, work, life, whatever.
Mhm.
And so when I came back 6 years later, it was to be an English teacher. I was like, all right, well, what I changed my major and I
Mhm.
started doing my prereqs again. So I went to San Bernardino Valley College,
Okay.
did some prereqs, and then I transferred to RCC. I
Okay.
teach there now. I did some more prereqs, and then I transferred to UCR in 2010.
Okay.
And then by 2012, I got my BA. Then I got into grad school and I got the PhD program. But by
Hmm.
2014, I got my master's.
That's
And in
awesome.
2018, I got my PhD.
I mean, that
And
shows a lot of discipline if you look at the time frame, because
yeah,
as you were saying before, you didn't have the work ethic, but clearly something transformed and clicked inside of you. That deficit mindset, as you said, it was once a big struggle. Looks like you found ways to achieve.
well, I asked for help. And here's the thing. Here's the difference. I tell my students all the time. The first time I was in school, I was in the back of the class. I was doing other things. When I came back after that hiatus, as soon as I got to UCR, I'm sitting in the front of the class. I'm raising my hand. I'm talking all the time. I'm asking all the questions. I'm going to office hours. I'm going to office hours when they don't have office hours. I'm
Mhm.
all in the professors' faces, right? And so that helped. And then they were able to plug me. I didn't know how to get into grad school. Like I've never seen young black people where I'm from get PhDs. I knew there was people in DC and there was people, I don't know, somewhere they was doing it, but I never saw it. So the church I went to, I started seeing it, right? I started seeing people getting their PhDs, young black folks. And like I said, I sat in front of the class and my professors told me about fellowships. They told me about books. They just put me up on game because I was in their face. So I always say, you got to be able to see yourself somewhere, like
Yeah.
imagine it. So when I saw these people in my church, I was like, all right, it's possible. And then when you need help. So
Yeah.
like my professor sent an email and got me into one of them fellowships, and they taught you how to get into grad school. Like I needed that. I needed that help, right? We call that our white brothers and sisters. We call that privilege. You know what I'm saying? Like you need help, right? And
Right.
then then you got to work hard. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was in class, I'm like, all right, you're reading a million books, but that was my journey, and I've been teaching since 2013. So as soon as I got my master's, they let me start teaching. So almost 10 years been teaching, and it's dope because I get to pick my own books. I mean, we reading all black stuff, we watching black movies,
Yeah.
we talking about all the important things I want to talk about, and yeah. So that's the long story of my
I
educational arc.
Your educational arc, yes, because um, your theme when I asked you how would you title your life, and you said God kept me, you definitely have shared in the comments have already been coming through of my own fifth grade teacher, Carlene Casada. She's watching. She was saying in front of the class is where it's at. Being present. You mentioned about going to the math lab and getting tutoring, asking for help, becoming your own advocate, as well as having advocates advocate for you in different places. So that's well. But you mentioned that you had like a 6 year time off. You mentioned, life and different things happen. What has, when you look at your journey through your life and someone who's watching who, might see you and wonder, like, wonder what his story is. How did you get from one place to now PhD, Sterling? I know from the educational route, but what about you as a person?
Yeah. So trying to think how to edit this. So
Be
let's see.
free. I mean, but
So my father's a preacher, right? So my father,
okay.
he was a pimp. He was a Black Panther. Well, he was a Black Panther. He was a gangster. He was a pimp. He was a convict. Then he's a preacher. You know what I'm saying? So that whole story, right?
Mhm.
So my older brothers was gangbanging, and and so that was the thing to do in my adolescence. So I saw my dad like during his, preacher side. So we was
Mhm.
in church every day, right? We had a smaller storefront church every day, doing the sound, doing the you remember them little clear things with the words on them? You put the
Yes.
thing down, the projection on
Yeah.
the wall. Yeah. So all of that, we was doing all of that, but at the same time in the streets,
Mhm.
smoking, drinking at like 10 years old, right? And throughout my life, right? So it was always like God was always there in like the background of my mind, right?
Okay.
Shoot, even when I got baptized, my father baptized me. He said he should have held me under longer. Um, uh, I think then I was kind of just hedging my bets. I was like, well, if it's real, then I'll be all right. You know what I mean? Like I was just hedging my bets. And it wasn't until so the word was always there. I always could see it. My mother was a praying woman. She she'd be praying in tongues, till the sun come up. She was really there. You know what I'm saying? And a good first lady, all that. Then let's see. So there was always streets and in the church at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
They was always busy. My father trying to work, build this church. My mom working 4 or 5 jobs. So it was, we was left to do what we wanted to. And so I think the first time God showed up for me, where it wasn't just like my parents' relationship. I was in 11th grade. I was about to get expelled again. I slapped this white boy because he wouldn't give my friend his belt. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was rude. Anyways, so I got expelled for fighting him, and I was on probation already. So I was about to go to jail because there was no other school for me to go to. And I think
Right.
I was like, Lord, please, if you just get me out of this, like I got all the respect of my friends, everything's good, but I'm about to go to jail. So please, Lord, help me, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get my act together. And he delivered me from that. Like that was the first time like he delivered me that I was, the stereotypical please Lord. So so then that's when I go to that continuation school with Part Deep in them, and I'm like on my stuff, right? I learned this white dude named Chris teaches me about computers and graphic design.
Okay.
Uh, George, Kimala, and Steve, like these teachers, like really was good to me, and I got my act. I wasn't acting up no more after that. So educationally, I stopped acting a fool. At that point, right? Then then I took a Black History class, Mr. Freeman, and this
Okay.
is Sac City. This is the second community college I went to, and Mr. Freeman was one of them teachers you could just take and pass his class. You didn't have to do nothing really. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of teacher my students think I am until
You
until they
make
get
them
their
write all those papers.
yeah. And then so that's when I started reading about Black history. Like I knew, like my father, we knew some stuff, right? We knew the FBI was dirty. We knew things, right? But again, like church, it wasn't like my
Right.
it wasn't me. So second conversion starts when I take his class and I'm doing my notes and I get really mad about what I'm reading. And so I start writing a poem called Reparations. You know what I'm saying? And then he makes me read it to the class. And then some girl asked me to go to a poetry spot. And that's when I start writing poems. You know what I'm saying? I start writing poems because I realized that I can take history and Black history and put it in to, a quick little 5 minute poem, right?
Okay.
So so then I'm like, all right, so I'm still like a criminal, but this time I wouldn't hurt Black people. At this point, I was like, I had this warped sense of morality.
Okay.
So everything I did dirty was not to
To me.
us. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it was
Mm-hmm.
called reparations in my mind. So so I stopped messing around in school. Then I stopped messing with my people, right? Just when you get woke, right? Um, and so I started doing that, you know what I'm saying, for some years. And then during that hiatus, I got into some more trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And since I don't have tenure yet, I'm just gonna sugarcoat that part. And that was another part where I'm like, I'm not finna do nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because God really delivered me from something real tough, something real tough. And that's so there was a few like conversions, and in that 6 years is when I got my own personal relationship with God. I finally
All right.
got to read the Bible for myself. There's like a
Okay.
little blue Gideon Bible, the ones they put in jail in the hotels.
Yeah.
I finally got to read that, and I let so who knows which place, but I finally got to read the whole Gideon's Bible, and and really, really just realized what God had been doing for me my whole life, and how I did not repay that with kindness and kept putting him through it, right? And
Mhm.
so every time I really, really, so when I say he kept me, like he kept me from like guns in my face, like
Mhm.
prison. He kept me from all type of like. He got me through grad school. So when I'm in grad school, I'm stressed about grad school. No,
Right.
he been already kept me from prison, from guns and all kind of like
Yeah.
poor decisions. Like he been kept me. So that's when I was like 24 years old when I really got that personal relationship. And I'm 40 now. So yeah, that's so that it was slowly that. You know what I'm saying? It was that, and then I was 25. That's when I was like, all right, let me go back to school and figure out this PhD thing.
I like how you I like how you filtered, but as well as sharing candidly and understanding. You said a couple things I want to hit on. The first time when you realized it wasn't like a parental relationship dependent, you were in 11th grade and you asked God, you prayed and asked God to help you, and he did just that. And then as you mentioned that, you know, in the beginning you said he's always been in the background, right? And it kind of makes me think of that old song where James Moore used to said he was there all the time, waiting patiently in line. He was there. Like, God has never left us. He's never moved. He's still been in the same place. He's waiting on us to receive and to open up and to have a relationship with him. Then you mentioned through all the danger seen and unseen, everything that you had going on here at 24, you have time now to read and study and develop a relationship with God for yourself. So, in your reading, quick question: out of all the different individuals of the Bible, who do you see that your life paralleled, where you were reading, you were like, oh, I get that. Oh, I understand that. That's been me. Because just want to see if you find yourself in any of those um, any of those people in the word.
So that's a good question because as I've grown, I've identified with different people, right? First when you first said that, I was like, oh well, shoot, Paul for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like great apostle Paul for sure. You know what I mean? Like he did some dirt, and then now he like worked extra hard for the Lord. And then I was
Mhm.
thinking, nah, Peter and them, because as soon as they got the Holy Ghost, they was talking. Wow, they was talking a lot, and people were like, hold up now, these dudes are unlearned regular cats. Like
Mhm.
this must be God because these folks never went to seminary, right? Like
Right.
when I first started teaching, they was like, he don't even sound like an English professor. He don't even talk like an English professor. And I was
Mm.
like, first of all, it's speak. Second of all, this how I want to speak because I'm comfortable. Anyways, so I was thinking, yeah, nah, Peter, because he screwed up too and then came back.
Mhm.
But I would have to say Hosea's wife. I
Gomer.
would say I have
Okay.
to say Hosea's wife. Yeah, because Hosea, man, he was a prophet, right?
Mhm.
God's giving out all these assignments to the prophets, right? He's like, yeah, take this belt, get it dirty, wash it off, tell my people that's what I'm gonna do with them.
Mhm.
He tell these prophets to do all kind of things. But with Hosea, he was like, yeah, go get your wife who's out
Yeah.
there selling her body in the streets. Your wife is for the streets. Go get her back and love her, because I know she's nasty and she's been, selling herself to all these other people. I said, but take her back and love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. You know what I'm saying? That was me. And God is Hosea, and He's waiting for us, right? And we out here doing all this, dirt, worshiping idols.
Mm. Come on.
And so I would have to say Hosea's wife because, you know, or how about how about this? Solomon,
Mhm.
David, and Samson,
Mhm.
strongest, the wisest, the man after God's own heart. They all fell behind their weakness behind women. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like they all had like a lack of discipline. So probably them. Shoot, I mean,
He's like, it's
yeah,
so many.
everybody but Jesus.
Wow. That's heavy on a few reasons. Like, I'm like, we could put a pin right there and just talk about that. I like what you're saying because as you were sharing those different instances of individuals from Paul, Peter, to Hosea's wife Gomer, to Solomon, David, and Samson. Yes, all of those are, but everything that's connected to that is humanity. These are just human people dealing with good old human issues like you and I do on a daily, and anyone else who's watching, like, we're not exempt. So the issues that were plaguing folks in the Old Testament and New Testament are the same issues that are plaguing us. We just have social media, camera phones, technology, and all this other stuff that they didn't have at the time. I mean, I think the biggest advancement of technology that they had was like carrier pigeons and like writing scrolls and shipping them and waiting for them to be read. But for us, everything is right now in its present. But you hit on so many healthy things when you mention how God is faithful. How he sees us in our mess, in our filth, but yet he chases after us, yet he loves us, and he keeps keeping us. There's, because when you brought up Gomer, I'm like, yeah, she had a few kids with random dudes that she was out there in these streets with, and yet Hosea loved his wife unconditionally. And the metaphor that God was painting and yet paints for us to see, as we his people have went a whoring after other gods, I yet love you. I'm yet faithful. I'm yet good to you. I just want you to return home. And so it's, if the Lord was singing a song, it'd be like, love should have brought you home last night.
Nasty, nasty, we nasty. So look, Hosea's what taught me Jesus got feelings, man. Like God got feelings.
He
Um,
does.
you know what else? You know what else? You know what else I forgot? The whole children of Israel. Like,
Yeah.
but not all, but the specific children of Israel who came out of Egypt, right? Or as Kemet. So when they came up out of there, I used to trip. Because when I was in my 6 year hiatus, I was reading about them, and I was like, man, they keep they keep they just walk through the ocean. They walk through like the Red Sea. They
Yeah.
walk through. How can you walk through all of that and then start complaining about quail? You know what I'm saying? Complain about food or these honey buns he got on the ground. Like, how are you going to complain about water and honey buns and quail wings? How are you going to complain like after you just walk through the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And and then I realized that dang, that's me, right?
Mhm.
That's me. So he opened up. I told you about a couple of them, but he opened up a giant ocean in front of me, right? And I
Mhm.
walked through. And when I got to grad school, I'm still stressing about grad school, right?
Mhm.
Not realizing like you didn't already got me through that
Yeah.
real life. You got me through real, and I'm in grad school with a bunch of people trying to sound smart in front of the professor. So then he got me through that, and then I'm trying to, get jobs and
Mhm.
tenure and all these other things. And it's just so crazy how quickly we forget.
Yes.
Like, did you like, you know what they said? They was like, did he bring us out here so we could starve?
Yeah. So we
Like
could
they
die.
had a lot of nerve, and I feel like I'm like that too. Just
Yeah.
I don't say those things, but I feel those things, right?
Right.
When I choose not to have faith, when I choose to embrace anxiety, I
Oh,
feel
come
like I'm
on.
like them, right? I feel like I'm like them when they're like, but they just completely forget a giant miracle that just happened.
Hmm.
That's crazy. It's just crazy to me that I can be like that.
Yeah. Again, you said something that I'm weighing on. When I choose to not um, embrace faith, but yet embrace anxiety, when I don't choose faith, like it's literally saying I'm choosing not to believe God for this. That is really heavy, AK, really heavy, because I have, I do the show, I do the conferences, I do different speaking and teaching and stuff, but I'm always acknowledging, like, hey, sometimes I be set tripping. Like I think wrong. Like I'll go to a negative space and I have to, challenge my thoughts. But like you said, They went through the sea on dry land. They escaped all of the plagues of Egypt. Pharaoh got drowned in that big old Red Sea after the last Israelite cross. What you mad for, right? And then it's also, do you think that God can't do what it is that you need him to do? And I say that even for myself. Like, I have things that are on my plate, and I'm wondering, like, you start biting your nails, right? Trying to figure out, pondering, like, what should I do? What? But then you got to remember, is there anything too hard for God? And like you said earlier, you have to replay in your mind what he has already done for you. And when you said, how can we forget? That's why we sing the song, Jesus, I'll never forget what you've done for me. Like the song goes, it's a clap, it's a feel good song, right? But when we really break it down, we have to remind ourselves, Camille, I'll never forget what God has done for me. You have to really talk to yourself and make sure you count and recount and recite what he has done for you, so we don't follow in that place.
It's almost like they was kept. They was being kept. I
Oh,
forget we're kept. We're being kept, and the fact that we're kept gives us the time to start stressing and doubting. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like, what do we do in the time of being kept? Because maybe being kept don't look like what we think it should look like, right? Because
Okay.
sometimes his ways ain't our ways, right? Picture this.
Right.
He told Mary, he said, Mary, you about to be blessed among all women, right? You're gonna be that one. 10 months later, what? She about to get stoned for having a baby before she got with her husband, right? Like that, and it's a close knit society, and she's
Mhm.
definitely labeled like it was before Hot Girl Summer, so she was not getting us celebrated for her popping up pregnant, right? Uh, and so it's just crazy. Like that's how God decided to make her blessed out of all women.
Yeah.
So that just shows me that I have no idea how He's gonna do it. And so
Come
though
on,
He's keeping us,
AK.
yeah, I'm trying to tell you, though He's keeping us, it
Hmm.
might not feel like it. It might not look like it, right? In retrospect, I can tell my story, but I tell you, there's a whole bunch of protest naps and stress and anxiety all throughout that. And I'm looking back like, oh yeah, I did that. I did that. Nah, like He for sure kept me, even
Hmm.
though I was complaining and carrying on along the way.
Yeah. Through all of our murmuring, mumbles, and grumbles, he still keeps us. But I love what you just said. The way he keeps us, it don't look how we think. Because when we think of person being kept, like a kept man or a kept woman, that they got everything that they ever want. They don't have to leave the house for nothing. They got, Mr. Belvedere bringing them stuff, or, Amazon just lives at the front door of their house. And we have to remember being kept by God, who is infinite, who knows the ending from the beginning. It's going to look different. It's going to look different, and we just have to trust him completely. That's good. Let's see. Carlene says, I'm trying to do that daily. Sometimes our battles are big and we need to keep our faith bigger. I'm struggling with that big time right now. Mustard seeds are so small. Yes, absolutely. You're not alone, Carlene, at all. I think that when it comes down to us struggling with our faith and believing, we have to, as Dr. Sterling said, choose to believe God. Make that choice. When the enemy comes up, and the scripture says over in Psalms, when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Lord will lift a standard against him. We have to read our word. We have to spend time with God, in relationship, not in a form of religiosity, but spend time with the Lord and let him encourage us and let him remind us, look what I done. AK, we were in prayer a couple mornings ago, and I was thinking of, or even I think it might have been Bible study. I was saying that the Bible is really like God's resume. Like, if you wonder if he can do it, check his references. Check his
Yeah.
references. Like, his resume's thorough. Like, he ain't lost nan one. He ain't never been defeated.
But let me
Pretty.
let me let, let me tell you what I just realized about faith, and I had a recent current. So I'm still in this little thing of faith that I'm trying to see about, right? A little current thing of faith, and I realized two things. One was that faith, when it talks about the armor of God, is the shield, right?
Right.
And I
Shield of faith.
think that, so shield from what though? And I think that, like the sister said in the comment, a lot of times we feel like we don't have enough, right?
Yeah.
And I think the reason why we think we don't have enough
Mhm.
is because we don't have enough. No, is because, right, we have thoughts of doubt. So every time we have a thought of doubt, right, a thought of doubt crosses our mind, we think, oh man, I don't have enough faith.
Mhm.
Especially if we hold on to it, right? So if we
Right.
hold on to that thought of doubt
Mhm.
and we're really just fixating on it, we're gonna feel like, dang, I don't have faith. Instead, what if when it says the shield of faith,
Right.
that's the armor, it's the shield of faith. You did?
Mhm.
When those thoughts come, you do it like this, like Captain America or Black Panther. You do like this, and let that just
Yeah.
because the thought is coming, just because it come real quick, bounce it off in your
Yeah.
mind. Be like, nope, boom, faith.
Yeah.
Instead of, because we back to deficit, right? I think as Christians, we like to feel like, especially with faith, that we don't have enough.
Right.
It's exactly, doubt is from Satan. So when it comes, when that doubt comes, block it. Be like, no. And then, so what I would have is like a list of verses that I was standing on, and I would
Okay.
immediately bring those to my mind to be like, nope. And then I wouldn't fixate on that thought. I'm like, well, what if this happens?
Yeah.
Ding, right? Now he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him,
Come on,
right?
Hebrews 11:6. Let's go. Yes.
So I would have, seek first the kingdom,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
all these things will be added unto you, right? So every
3.
time
Come
I would be
on.
like, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? Ding. And so my faith is bringing up his resume, right? My faith is bringing up the sword of the word, right? Sword of
Mhm.
the spirit. But that's the thing, right? It's faith. Also, this part, it says, without faith, it's impossible to please God.
That's right.
So if you reverse engineer that, how do you please God?
Mm.
What's another word for please? What if faith is one of God's love languages, right?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so when there's an opportunity to have faith, like, what do you get somebody who has everything? Like, what does Stedman get Oprah? I don't know. I don't foot massage. I don't know. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. We know that our God, who made the universe,
Mhm.
loves when we're nice to each other, but He loves, and what makes Him happy, what pleases Him. Like, have
Mhm.
you ever been pleased? Like, pleased. Like, my kids get some yogurt, they are pleased to get
Mhm.
some frozen yogurt. So he's pleased when we have faith. So when we're in an uncomfortable situation where we're trying to have faith, where we're trying to trust what he said he's going to do, he's going to do it. That's
Right.
an opportunity to make him feel good. Like, you just made God feel good today. Like,
Yeah.
because you chose not to have anxiety, which hurts our bodies.
Yeah.
You chose to have faith, which makes the God of the universe happy. Look what
Yeah.
you speaking his love language. We're speaking his love language. I think that's dope.
That's good. Listen, listen. This is good. Your dad would be proud of you. Okay? He'd be proud of
Yeah.
you.
He'll
Uh,
probably try to baptize me again.
but I love that when you mentioned about pleasing God and fulfilling His love language. If you all are watching in the comments, go ahead and put God, I trust you. That's going to be our pleasing God statement. Whatever that God, I trust you. God, I believe you. God, I'm standing on faith in your word. Whatever it is, drop that in the comments. If you're watching this as a replay, do that. Make those confessions. God, I'm gonna trust you today. I'm gonna trust you more. I'm saying that for myself. God, I trust you as it relates to this conference, as it relates to this life, the relationship, as it relates to everything that I put. God, I trust you. And meaning that, and you painted such a vivid analogy when you mentioned about using the actual shield, like block that. Because, and I love the fact that you said Captain America or Wakanda or Black Panther, because that my imagery is livid, right? Is real live over there. But how quick that would be, how quick the narrative can change. And then you tied it with, that's The God of the universe, it says, see, yeah, they get it. They get me. They understand me. You know what I mean? And like, oh my God, in any relationship, we want to be understood. We want to be loved. We want to be appreciated. We want the affirmations. We want all these things, as humans. What more for the God who made us in his image anyway?
Right.
You
Because
feel
what
me?
is it? It's uncomfortable, right? We're uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to not know the
Yeah.
uncertainty, right? It's
Hmm.
uncomfortable. But what kind of wild declarations do we make to people we know? I would
Hmm.
die for you. I would do this for you. I'll do time for you. I'll fight this. I would do all these things. I'll cook for you. I would clean for you. Like all the things we'll do for people, but we just can't be uncomfortable with not knowing. Like just for a minute, just because we know the guy who knows what's around the corner. Just trust.
Hmm.
If we could just trust him,
Yeah.
like, come on now.
Yeah. That's heavy. My mom, I always call it her sleepy time scripture, but Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all our heart, with all thine heart. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, knowing He will direct your path. So, like I was just sharing with Kedrick this tonight. Him and I were talking, and I was saying to him, you know, I have to remind myself of Romans 8:28 often. For we know, pause, you're an English teacher, you're an English professor, you know how important it is where those commas are placed. For we know, having that confidence, that assurance that all things work together for the good to them that love God and are called according to his purpose. So, like you mentioned, we can't let our discomfort, our uncomfortability, because we don't see everything, it's not happening on our timetable. We didn't get that position, we didn't get that promotion, we didn't get that house, we didn't get this, we didn't get that, or whatever it might be. We can't allow that temporary moment to impact our greater future,
You said
and
it with timing. You said with timing. If I'm out here hoeing like Hosea's wife, you know what I'm saying, with these idols, and
mhm,
he waited for me, I
yeah,
can't wait for him. I can't wait for God.
yes, yeah. I hear Travis Green singing, he waited for me patiently, he waited. I mean, yeah. I mean, I hope whoever is watching, whether in replay or in real time, I hope and I pray that your heart has been pricked and touched by not only the educational transformation that Dr. Alexander Sterling has shared with us on tonight. Not just that. I mean, going from being systemically uh, um marginalized and being placed in special ed, and to make yourself think that maybe you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you'll just be in that what is that, prison pipeline type thing, just be another cog in the wheel. But God had a better plan for your life, and like you said, all through life you knew that he was there, and as you grew and matured, you developed your own relationship with God. And then to see from hiatus to now PhD, 40 years old, beautiful family, beautiful home, and God still is saying, "You ain't seen nothing yet, bruh. I still got more for you." Like that, that's encouraging. And I hope all of us take a pause and look over our life and see how far God has brought us. And when we feel doubtful, like you said, throw up that shield of faith. When we feel like, I don't know if he'll do that, check his resume. Open up those 66 love letters and read what he says and what he will do. This is good. You have helped me on tonight.
Praise him. What you
Yes.
say? You overcome by the word, the blood of the lamb, and the word of your testimony.
That's right. That's right. And we need that, because you said some things that challenge me. I mean, challenge me to the very core, because again, we can hear something all day long, but God knows when it's going to take root. That's why I love the passage of scripture where it says one plants, one water, but it's God who gives the increase. So everything that you said, I'm sure preachers and grandmamas and aunties and uncles and different folks have been saying, people on Instagram, motivational folks have said all this before, but it's something when you hear it at the right time, at the right place, when your heart is ready to receive, it makes a difference. And so, as I'm preparing for this women's conference and I'm preparing to go back to school to finish up to, begin and hopefully conclude my journey to get my doctorates in
That's right.
organizational leadership, because listen, all
To
y'all
me,
got knowledge.
hopefully, look. This is how sharp of a knife I am, right? So I ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer. And if they mess around and let me get a PhD, come on now. You better claim that. You better name it and claim it.
Yeah, yes. I have, changed my username for a few things, passwords to a few things to express that goal. But, again, you know, the waves of life, they come thrashing, they come crashing. And but again, we still got to know who God is, and that he is not, like you said in Hebrews 11:6, that he's a rewarder of those who diligently, consistently, in great, what's the word, ambition and excitement, seek
Look,
for him and
look,
watch for him.
you can't see it, but look,
Did you do
let me
this on
show
a
you.
filter? You did this on a
Look, to
filter.
remind myself, I got in Hebrew way. Let me do it like this. No, like this. This? No,
You
like
got
this.
you got to put the
There
light
we go.
on.
Can you see it? Wait.
Yeah, I see markings.
You see that? Right there.
Yes, sir.
You see this?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So those are the names of God
Hmm.
in Hebrew, right? So
Okay.
it's like my kids are learning to identify the Hebrew words. So the first one is God, Abba Father, not Abba Father, my provider, right?
Jehovah Jireh.
My healer, right?
Jehovah.
God is my peace. And so
Sure.
remembering who He is with the names, I had to put it on my wall. Just every time I walk by, every time I'm in the living room, I see who who God is, who He says He is.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's very good. Very good. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. In fact, I shared with a women's fellowship the other night. That was our assignment for the week. Find the name of God, study it, and feast on it. Where do you see in Scripture where He announces Himself as this? What was the condition? What was the context, and the story related to it? And then pray and see how he comes alive. He shows himself alive and strong in your life in that manner. We sing the song Waymaker, Promise Keeper, Light in Darkness. That's who he is. But have we experienced him to be a waymaker? Some people might not have experienced him to be a waymaker just yet. Maybe they haven't experienced him to be a promise keeper. They're waiting on things to happen, and they don't know if it's, but God is faithful, and at the right time, according to His will and His way, He reveals. And woo it's amazing. Carlene, I totally agree. We need godly people to rescue and assist our students for sure. Our system is broken. Our This world is broken. This world is flawed, but we serve an amazing God who has never lost a case, who has never lost a battle, who is faithful to perform and keep his promises. And so, listen,
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me give you your flowers, because at our school, you
mhm.
you keep God, you keep God in the forefront. In every meeting, in every event, you keep with the prayers, with the way you announce Him unapologetically. You keep God all over the place. Let me just give you your flowers on that one.
Thank you, brother. I listen because I'm gonna be me, right? And I know that God has placed me there, and I I was feeling away being there, from a financial place to like the issues that we have at our college, the systemic stuff that have, like, why am I here? And a couple of weeks ago, I heard TD Jakes just quote the scripture over in Proverbs: despise not the days of small beginnings. And he was saying that sometimes you're praying and you want God to give you a tree, but he's giving you a seed. And I was like, ooh, that's good. Oh yeah. Like, and so now I'm basking. I mean, I met you, Asia, Darnell, Heather, Joyce, Vaughn. I got Roger to call me the voice of MSJC now. It's just, God has blessed me to be in different venues, and hey, to God be the glory, right? And so, Kendrick, honey, I totally agree. It doesn't matter how you start, but it's how you finish and the impact you leave. Because at the end of the day, we got to leave here. We got to go, and what we do for Christ is going to last. So yes, brother, I try my best unapologetically. I'm just going to be me. And that's the thing. I feel like I'm able to do that at MSJC. You know, I worked in corporate for so long where you had to like kind of do like the Christian check-in, like say like a little church cliche to see if anybody pops back and you be like, oh, okay, cool. You love God, that's cool. But in public sector with education, it seems like everybody has a voice to be themselves. So I'm in a place where if I continue to dim my candle and not let my light shine, then that's showing God that's not demonstrating a healthy relationship and doing his love language like he wants me to, right? I'm not pleasing him in doing that. I have to please him in everything that I do, as
And
much
you
as I
don't know
can.
who's going through it. You don't know who's going through it either. Like they, it's a cold world without Jesus. So you got to imagine who these what they're going through, and they see somebody like you that got the spirit. Their energy is always good. You might be able to, you might have exactly what they need, and they're afraid to ask for. And you're not like you're unapologetic, but you ain't obnoxious, right? And
Yeah.
so, and so, just being that person, well, you might could change somebody's whole trajectory because you had a good conversation with them, right? And dropped a little Jesus off on them. Something that we take for granted. Like in the church, we hear the same things. I've been
Mhm.
at the church for 100 years. And so we hear the same things, right?
Right.
Almost to our detriment, where we think it's cliche, but it's a promise.
Yeah.
But like they might not hear that stuff all the time. So just keep letting your light shine, sis,
Thank you,
for
bro.
sure.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. Listen, where can they find you? Where can they learn more about you? How can they, say for instance, they just want, to like have you as a mentor. Where can folks go?
So so I I mean, you got my information, right? Look, that I just showed you my QR code. I don't know how this app thing works, but I got this. Let me see. Look, I got this new. Look what I got. Hold on. Can you see it? You can't see it. I can't. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, yeah.
Look. No, what's interesting is if you scan that, it
Mhm.
take you right to all my information, my email, my phone number, my dissertation, my YouTube, everything. It's all on there. I don't know how to give it to you. I might text it to you. I don't know.
So
Uh,
so what
my
I'll
email.
do is I'll upload it in the comments on Facebook and on YouTube. I'll try to upload the
The little
image,
QR. Yeah,
the
yeah.
QR code.
Okay.
Yeah.
What my email? I guess I don't know. I don't know who's all on Facebook. But look, it don't matter. Here go my email. Put the email in there. You got my email.
I'm about to put let me get my little thing up
And I
here.
got a lady, so
Keep it
keep it,
appropriate.
keep it G.
Okay, let me do this. Contact Dr. Alexander Sterling. All right, what's your email, sir?
That's A Sterling
Mm-hmm.
at Yahoo. No, it's A Sterling at msjc.edu.
Okay.
But look, but do the do that link. Do the link to the I'm about to text you a link and put this link in there.
Are you gonna put it in the private chat? Or
The YouTube. I don't know how to do that. I'm on the phone. On the phone. I'm gonna text it to you. Is
okay.
that gonna work? Look.
So what
Yeah.
they can do if they Google if they YouTube on YouTube, if they type in Alexander Sterling, your channel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, put it. Type in. Yeah, but just put the link in. Put the link. It's Dr. A.K. Sterling. I got a playlist on there with a bunch of cool stuff.
Okay.
So that's what I just hit you with the link. If you could put that in the comments, right?
I'm gonna try to get to it because I'm actually on my computer.
Okay.
You sent it to the
You don't have
phone.
Apple. You don't have Apple. You don't get your text on the.
No, no,
Oh, poor thing. We'll pray for you. We'll
don't do
pray
that.
for you.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You were
Yeah,
doing
but
it
put you could put Alexander. What is it? Yeah, this is Dr. A.K. Sterling on YouTube.
Yes.
It's a
Okay.
Black History. It's a Black History Month playlist with a bunch of good stuff.
Yes, I see it. And matter of fact,
It ain't just for February.
let's see. Injustice
Oh, you
90.
put that in the little thing down there. Good job.
I'm actually going to put this whole link here because I'm pretty committed to it. Let's go ahead and do this.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna put it in the actual chat. Let's see. It won't let me do
Yeah,
that.
it's got some of my poems on there. It's got some panels. So I did a poem critiquing Black History Month because we always talk about the same five people, and all the suffering are either like super, no, not that one, not the poetettes, not that one.
Mhm.
Nah, nah, not that one. Because there's
Okay.
different ones. No, no, it's Dr. A.K. Sterling.
Yeah, I'm looking at your.
Alexander.
Yeah, I'm looking at your channel. Well, here's the thing. We don't have. I
What's
don't.
in it?
I'll, I'll come back and I'll put it on
Okay.
the YouTube and Facebook. But because I don't want to take up all of our time, we got to make sure our guests, and I don't want to take up all of your time as well. But I do want to say thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the show tonight. You definitely shared nuggets, insight, and helped us, all of us who are watching and listening, to know that not only has God kept you, but He's also keeping us too. And despite the discomfort or what it might look like, God is still good. He is still awesome, and He knows exactly what we need just when we need it. And so, as Kedrick is being petty in the chat, we're not going to pay no attention to that. He's an Android user. He'll never understand what life is like being dope with an Apple device. So we're not going to pay attention to that. But AK, listen, appreciate you, man.
Yes, ma'am.
If anyone is currently in school or desiring to go back to school, he teaches at RCC, UCR, and Mount San Jacinto College.
Well,
Enroll.
not UCR anymore.
You're not at UCR? Okay.
Nah,
RCC.
yeah.
RCC.
It's Moreno Valley College.
Okay, Moreno Valley College and Mount San Jacinto College. Please enroll, take a class. You will not be disappointed by any measure. He's an awesome professor. So thank you all for tuning on in tonight. I have to say, stepping out on faith, believing God for all things. If you want to be a part of the Be Healed Web Show, feel free to email at BeHealedWebShow@gmail.com. Would love to hear hear from you, because again, everybody has a story. Everybody has something to share. It is worth it, and we want to hear from you. Thank you all for tuning in. But most importantly, ladies, the Be Healed Women's Conference is happening August 18th through the 20th. Now, again, you can check out on the 21st, but we're going to be Thursday through Saturday. Okay, and you can leave out on Sunday, but the booking link is live. You don't get the booking link until you register. So go to BeHealedConference.com, register, pay the registration fee, get that booking link, and reserve your spot. It's going to be an amazing time. And I believe God is going to do exceedingly and abundantly above all we could ever ask or think, because that's what His word says. And His resume don't lie. That's what my brother reminded us tonight, and that's what we got to hold on to. So, Vanita, so good to see you on tonight. May God bless you. May God keep you. AK, love you, man. Tell the kids I said hi. Tell them Auntie Mill said hey. And we will talk to you all next time. If it be the Lord's will, we'll be back together next Tuesday, same time, same channel, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, with another amazing guest. You all be blessed. Take care.